Dean, our son-in-law, his parents were moving house and had asked him to come and give them a hand. It became quite late at night, so he decided not to go home. At about 3 in the night, he got woken up by a lot of commotion, and his father came running in. His mother had stopped breathing, was choking, and was coughing up blood, and was really in a bad way. The hospital staff felt it was a very grave situation and was very concerned, said to her, why didn't you come in sooner? You would have known that you are in a bad way. They could see some massive growth there right in the beginning of the throat, because they couldn't really put her down in any way, because the minute her head went down she would start choking again and couldn't breathe at all. Very nasty looking growth that they were quite convinced were cancerous growths. Could not really give her a tracheotomy or anything like that to relieve her breathing, which was very laboured and at times couldn't breathe at all, because they would feel that they would spread the cells, the cancerous cells, through her body. As they weighed her, they found that she had lost about 10 kilos in the last couple of months, really. She, certainly our son-in-law had noticed her getting very thin. So he had been concerned about that, but more thought she was working too hard. So the decision was made that they would move her to the Austin Hospital immediately. They would have more facilities there to do that kind of delicate surgery. They arrived in the Austin Hospital. The situation there was also pretty grave. They said to prepare for the worst. She would definitely lose her voice box. She would have immediate chemo, very aggressive chemo after the operation, would have to stay in Austin probably for quite a long time. One of the probably worst things for her at that moment would be that they possibly could not give her an anesthetic. It seemed highly unlikely for them, because as they would sort of lay her down or anything like that, she would stop breathing. This was all Sunday morning that we found out about it, just before church actually. And Sunday night, our friends Ellen and Margaret Vezekely came over and had a meal with us. And we spent really quite a long time praying for this particular situation. It was kind of strange, because we felt a little bit like, Lord, we believe, but help our unbelief, because it seemed such a grave situation, but by the same token we knew that the Lord could do absolutely anything. And again, we really prayed into this whole thing about the anesthesia. We felt just so strongly about her not having to suffer that immense trauma of that. So the next morning, the Monday morning, they did the operation. Quite early they started, and it took many, many hours. I remember sitting there just praying. So about 1 o'clock, I think it was, that the phone call came, and Melanie said, "Oh, Mum, it's just too hard to believe. All the nursing staff, they were saying this is just a miracle how well she's come through the operation. She is looking really quite good, and they could save her voice box, and they could give her an anesthetic, which they certainly didn't expect to be able to do." And she said even though they still believe the prognosis is very grave, they were amazed at how well all this has gone, and said, well, at least you've got that. This has been really quite an amazing situation, how well this has been done. And the thought went in my mind, well, what about if we just believe that the Lord will actually change those cells of these growths while they have gone to the lab into non-cancerous growths, even though the specialists were totally sure that they were cancerous, because they were looking that way. And it's no big deal to the Lord, really, to do that. So we really started to pray into that, and as the results came back on the Tuesday, it was non-cancerous, and honestly, no one could understand it or could believe it. It was just like not really possible. And she is doing well, putting on her weight again, and feeling really, really good. Her voice is a little bit affected, but she can talk quite normal and can go to work again. And everything is really, really wonderful. And she thanks the man up there. She is not quite a total believer yet. So yeah, but we believe for that very strongly so.